Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to my channel, The Gentleman Reviewer. As always, please hit that subscribe button and the like button on my video. Help me grow, share these on your Facebook pages or whatever. Just help me get out there a little bit. So today I've got part 2 of the Zebra All Steel Series 3. So my first review I did with these, I did a lot of the ballpoints, a lot of the standard ones that you'd see at stores. And then I went off into the a part 2. I split them up because I didn't want to do, I think it's 7 or 8 pens at once, and I feel like that's just a bit over the top, a bit too much, honestly. So I split them up into ones that are fairly common, into ones that I actually hadn't seen before until I dug into some of the products in the All Steel line. So jumping into these three, I've got the H301, the V301, and the R301. So this is obviously a highlighter. This one's actually a fountain pen, which is kind of interesting, but I'll get into in a little bit. And this is the rollerball. So that's what each one is. Some of the things that are common across the board, as you can see, they're all exactly the same design, just different color on the grips and the caps. They all have one thing that I really don't like is you can see that the body tapers down into the grip here, but the cap is just a solid drop. So you can actually catch your finger in there, is how much of a drop it has. And this one, it catches a little bit, but generally it just slides over. And it just looks cleaner here. I think it looks kind of corny and unfinished, and it's honestly just not very great. So since I'm at the top right now and on the cap, they all have a pretty solid, oh, I'm almost out of frame. They all have a pretty solid clip on them, which I'm always a fan of nice clips because you can stick this in your pocket, something along those, like stick it in a pen loop, and it's just gonna stay. It's made of steel, it's really flexy, it's got a nice lip to it that's gonna be able to fit over just about anything. I've noticed that it doesn't seem to catch when you're pulling it out of the pen loop, so that's always nice because then you're not stuck pulling it out. The cap itself, I mean, it's an all steel cap, all steel body, hence the all steel line. And that just means, I mean, they look a lot nicer than they are. I will give them that much. So they look professional. They look like they're going to fit in any EDC. They're going to be able to survive bouncing around in your pocket with a knife, your phone. Probably wouldn't recommend carrying it around with your phone. They're going to survive bouncing around with a bunch of other pens and all of that fun jazz. So the markings might wear off, but who cares about that at the end of the day? So all of them have the same crappy grip as the F3 series, the other ones that I reviewed. It's just a weird knurled plastic, and in an all steel series, I wish that this was an all steel grip as well. As far as grips go, it's not bad, but as you can see, it just drops quickly here into the point, like into a taper that leads quickly to the point. So I tend to grip a lot closer to the tip, about right there, and it's not sharp, but it's very noticeable that it's there, and it's like that with all of them. So many people are forced to hold their grip up higher, which I personally don't find comfortable, so I'm not a huge fan of that. And like I said, it's present on all of them. So, like, other than that, they've got a, like I already mentioned, the steel body looks good, feels good, brushed steel. All the caps can be posted like that very easily. Some of them are a bit wobbly, but they go on there fairly well. I'm not worried about ever losing one. So, and it's not so heavy that it's going to be a problem. I couldn't find a lot of specifications on these, and the V301 is actually the only one I could find specifications on. I assume they're going to be fairly close, but the pen weighs about 0.47 ounces or 13 grams, which is very light. If you've been following my blog, you know that I prefer heavy pens. So that's one just complaint that I have in general about these. They're pretty light. They're about 5.25 inches long, and I couldn't find a heck of a lot of specs on dimensions, on the grip dimensions either. It does feel a bit thicker than the V or the F301 and the G301, some of the other ones that I reviewed, which I like. I think this is a good sized grip. I just gonna complain about the grip still because it's plastic and it just sucks. So that's about it for where these are the same. Oh, one last thing. They're all refillable. So they're not standard international, so you're not going to be able to refill these with another like a fountain pen ink or something like that, unfortunately. You can refill these though if you're going to use a needle or something along those lines that you can stick in the cartridge and refill it. So that's about all to where these are the same. So let's dive into each one individually. So to start off, I'm going to do the V301. So this is one that I've found a lot of people saying was their first fountain pen. You can find it in a Walgreens. I think it's in a Walmart, but it's pretty cheap. I mean, it's like $5, so you can't expect much out of a fountain pen at that price level. So it's a hooded nib, which I actually find interesting. You don't see that a lot in pen. Let me get it to focus. It's not focusing. Come on. Work with me. Let's see if I get that out of the way. Nope. All right. Well, that's about as close as I can get. Still not very focused. I'm sorry, guys. So it's a hooded nib, which one thing that's nice about it is you're going to be able to, some people who aren't very familiar with fountain pens are going to be able to push hard on it and write, and it's not going to bend. One of the problems that people see with varsities is that they're going to spread the tines apart and it's just going to be crappy. So you're not going to have that problem with this because of that hood. Also, it doesn't dry out very much. So I haven't used this for a couple days, and a lot of other fountain pens would dry out in a couple days, and you saw that it just started right away. The ink itself, the nib itself is probably close to a Japanese fine, maybe a Japanese medium. Let me do a 0.5 lead next to it just so you can see. So it's about 0.5 millimeters for the point, same as the 0.5 millimeter lead size. Ugh, I can't talk today. So pretty close to a Japanese fine, like I said, close to a medium. The ink itself is fairly light. You can actually see it's a bit more like a mechanical pencil lead or pencil lead, and not very dark. So, and for $5, I mean, you're gonna get a $5 fountain pen. So I would say spend a bit more money on even just a Pilot Metropolitan, and you're going to get a much better writing experience with that. Don't let this one turn you off to the fountain pen world. So next, just to be pretty quick, I'll do the H301 because this is going to be fairly quick. So simply put, it's just a pink highlighter, nothing fancy about it. It puts down a ton of ink though. So you'll see, I don't know how well you can see it on the camera, but it's definitely ghosting through on that. And this is, oh, sorry, there it goes. I went 2 pages and I didn't realize it. So you can see it's really going through, got a ton of ink down. Like I said, it is refillable. It's a chisel tip, pretty standard as far as highlighters go. One thing that I do have a complaint about is on Zebra's website, they sell the yellow highlighter, but they only sell the pink highlighter and they only sell yellow refills. It's just like, I don't know. Why would you do that? I have to dig on Amazon for pink refills, and they're fairly pricey. I think the refills are about $3 to $4, or maybe it's $2.75 for 2, something along those lines. So it's like, what the heck? Why can't you sell the yellow pen with the yellow refills? You gotta flip it up and make a stick. Other than that, don't have much to say about a highlighter. I like that it's metal. All the highlighters I have plastic bodies. So this is one that if I can find the refills for it, I like it a lot. Last but not least is the Zebra R301. So this is their attempt at a rollerball. I say attempt because it doesn't work very well. Let me see. Let's write on it. So it just puts down a ton of ink. Let's flip the page. Let's make sure I don't go two this time. You can see it's bleeding through and ghosting. It writes well, like the experience isn't bad. It's just really hard to write well with it because so much ink. You're not going to be able to write on the back side of this paper if you're writing with this pen. And it just completely ruins my experience with it. If they would have made the nib, or the ball just a little bit smaller, maybe down to a 0.5, I think they would have a great roller ball. So other than that, it's all about the same. It's the writing experience that counts with the roller ball. Like I said, just far too much ink. So overall, I think they kind of missed the mark with this part of the 3 series. I haven't been a fan of them. I don't enjoy using them very much except for the highlighter. And even with the highlighter, you can't even find the refills on their website, which is super frustrating to me. I can't say I'd recommend these. You know, they look good. They're going to be reliable. They're going to be durable. They're cheap, so it's not a heartbreak if you lose them or if they break or you lend them to a friend and they never give them back. But I would, with all of these, except maybe the highlighter, especially the rollerball and the fountain pen, I would invest a little bit more into something a bit nicer. Even the Pilot Precise V5s are so much better of a rollerball than this guy. So thanks again for watching. I went a bit longer on this than I expected, but I tend to like to talk and I try to be thorough. So again, just please hit that subscribe button and help me grow. Thanks again, guys. Comment below if you have any questions or if you feel like I missed anything.